As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the cobblestone streets of Eldenwood, the clockmaker, Elias, stood alone amidst the ticking symphony of his workshop. Each clock was adorned with intricate carvings, their gears whispering secrets of time long past. But this evening was different. The air was thick with an unshakable sense of urgency, an unspoken promise lingering like the last notes of a lullaby. Elias's heart raced as he polished a peculiar timepiece, the one the old woman had entrusted to him, a clock that seemed to hold the remnants of lost memories. The moment he had first laid eyes on it, a chill had danced up his spine. It was as if the clock had eyes, watching, waiting. He had hoped to mend its broken mechanisms, but now a deeper mystery tugged at his mind. What if it was not merely a clock, but a vessel of untold stories, a keeper of lost time? Suddenly a soft chime echoed through the silence, and the delicate hands of the clock began to spin wildly. The workshop dimmed, and Elias felt a strange pull, as if the very threads of time were unraveling before him. He staggered back, the world around him flickering like candlelight in a brisk wind. And then, as swiftly as it had begun, everything stilled. He found himself standing not in his workshop, but in the heart of a vibrant carnival. The colors were more vivid than he had ever seen, the air filled with joyful laughter, the sense of popcorn and caramel wafting through the crowd. Children darted between stalls, their eyes sparkling with delight, while entertainers, adorned in dazzling costumes, danced and spun beneath a sky painted in twilight hues. It was a scene ripped from the pages of a storybook, one that filled Elias's heart with both awe and an inexplicable sense of longing. "Welcome, welcome," a voice boomed, drawing his attention. There, at the entrance of a grand tent, stood a jester, adorned in a patchwork of bright colors. His eyes twinkled with mischief as he beckoned Elias closer. "Step right up, witness the wonders of lost time." Elias hesitated, feeling the threads of fate intertwine around him, as if the jester's invitation was a weaving of destiny. He stepped forward, curiosity overcoming caution. Inside the tent, the atmosphere shifted once more. The cacophony of the carnival faded, replaced by an ethereal hush. The jester waved his hand and the air shimmered, revealing a series of glass cases, each containing a clock like the one Elias had mended. "Each clock here holds a story," the jester explained, his voice a melodic whisper, a moment stolen from its rightful place, a memory trapped in time. "Choose wisely, for the tales you uncover may well change your own fate." Elias's heart raced at the thought. He approached the first case, peering inside to see a delicate clock adorned with roses that seemed to bloom within the glass. As he reached for it, a wave of warmth washed over him. A memory, unbidden yet familiar. He saw his mother, her gentle hands cradling him as a child, her laughter echoing like a sweet melody. But just as soon as the vision surfaced, it flickered away, leaving only the haunting ache of absence. "I can help you restore what was lost," the jester offered as though reading Elias's thoughts. "But remember, every wish has its price." "What do you mean?" Elias asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "The past is a delicate tapestry," the jester replied, his expression growing serious. "To weave a single thread may unravel another. What are you willing to sacrifice for?" "The chance to reclaim a moment." Before Elias could respond, the lights within the tent dimmed further, and a low humming filled the air. Suddenly he found himself standing before another clock, this one intricate and ancient, covered in intricate carvings of windswept trees and swirling clouds. Shiver ran down his spine, as if the clock had sparked something deep within him, a longing for adventure and bravery he had buried under years of solitude. "What tale does this one hold?" he asked, captivated by its beauty. The jester's eyes glimmered with excitement. "Ah, that is the clock of the lost wanderer, a tale of a brave young soul who dared to chase the horizon, seeking love across distant lands. The journey was fraught with danger and heartache, but in the end, it was love's true power that illuminated the darkest paths." Elias felt a stirring in his heart, a flicker of hope, igniting within him. Perhaps there was still time to change his own story, to chase his dreams instead of merely repairing the remnants of the past. He glanced at the jester, his determination solidifying. "I want to hear that story. Tell me everything." The jester's laughter echoed through the tent, bright and enchanting. "Very well. But remember, brave clockmaker, the path of lost time is not without trials. Are you prepared for what lies ahead? With a resolute nod, Elias stood tall, ready to embrace the adventures that awaited him. The world outside the tent faded into the background, the carnival's laughter a distant memory, as the jester's tale wove around him like a cocoon, promising magic, challenge, and the possibility of reclaiming not just lost moments, but a future filled with wonder and connection. The jester's voice danced through the air, a melodic thread that spun the tale of the lost wanderer. Once upon a time, in a village nestled between emerald hills and sapphire skies, there lived a young woman named Elara. She was known for her radiant smile and a heart that longed for adventure beyond the confines of her quiet home. As the jester spoke, the clock's hands began to spin, and the air shimmered, revealing glimpses of Elara's life. Elias could see her, a bright-eyed dreamer, staring out at the horizon, her thoughts drifting far beyond the rolling hills that bordered her village. Elara often listened to the tales of wandering minstrels who spoke of distant lands where the sun kissed the sea and the stars whispered secrets to those brave enough to follow their dreams. The jester continued, his voice growing richer with each word. However, despite her yearning, she felt anchored by the expectations of her family. A good woman stays, they would say. She is the heart of her home. But in the quiet of the night, when the moon bathed the world in silver light, Elara would let her imagination soar. She envisioned herself riding on the back of a magnificent stallion, galloping toward the unknown, chasing the very essence of life. The tent darkened, and Elias felt the weight of Elara's restraint settle over him, as if he too were tethered by unseen chains. The jester's voice drew him deeper into the narrative. One fateful evening, while wandering through a sun-dappled glade, Elara stumbled upon an ancient map, its edges frayed and delicate. It depicted a hidden world, one where love bloomed like wildflowers and adventure awaited at every turn. In that instant, she made a choice, the kind that could change the very fabric of her existence. Elias listened intently, enraptured by the tale. He could almost hear the rustle of leaves as Elara traced her fingers over the map, her heart pounding with the thrill of the unknown. With a resolve forged by dreams, she packed her belongings and set off at dawn, her heart a wild symphony of hope and fear. The jester narrated, his eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. But as the story unfolded, so did the challenges. Elara soon encountered a dark forest, where shadows lurked and whispered doubts twisted through the trees. "You will never find what you seek," they taunted, their voices echoing with the fears she held within. "You are but a girl, destined to fail." Yet every step she took, her spirit shone brighter, a beacon against the encroaching gloom. Elias felt a chill run down his spine, the weight of those shadows pressing in around him. "What if she falters?" he whispered, almost to himself, caught in the throes of Elara's journey. The jester grinned knowingly. "Ah, but here lies the magic, dear Clockmaker." For within the forest, Elara met a wise old owl, perched high on a gnarled branch. "Do not fear the dark," the owl said, his voice like the soft rustle of feathers. "It is merely a canvas for the light within you. Trust your heart and follow the map, for love will guide you through the shadows." With each word, Elias felt his own heart swell with a yearning for courage. He imagined Elara drawing strength from that wisdom, her determination illuminating the path ahead. And so she did, the jester continued. With renewed vigor, Elara pressed onward, her journey leading her to breathtaking valleys, across roaring rivers, and into the arms of unforeseen companions. The clock chimed softly, marking the passage of time, and Elias could almost hear the echoes of laughter and friendship woven into Elara's tale. But love, you see, is a powerful force, and it does not come without trials. Soon Elara found herself torn between her quest and the bonds she formed, facing the heart-wrenching choice of pursuing her dreams or returning to those who needed her. The tent shuddered slightly, as if the very fabric of reality trembled at the weight of her decision. Elias leaned forward, utterly captivated. "What did she choose?" he implored, his own heart racing with anticipation. The jester's eyes sparkled with mischief. "Ah, dear Clockmaker, that is a tale for another moment. For every choice brings forth new paths, and the journey of Elara is but one thread in the tapestry of lost time. Will she chase her heart's desire, or will she return to the comfort of familiarity? The answer lies in the choices she makes. just as it does for you." With that, the jester's laughter echoed once more, leaving Elias suspended between the enchantment of Alara's adventure and the weight of his own choices. The world outside faded further, and the promise of magic shimmered in the air, inviting him to embrace his own narrative, to weave the threads of lost time into something extraordinary. As the jester's laughter faded into the night, the warm glow of the lanterns flickered like distant stars, casting playful shadows that danced against the canvas walls of the tent. Elias felt a tug at his heartstrings, as if the very fibers of his being were stretching to connect with the story unfolding before him. He was captivated not only by Alara's tale, but by the deeper echoes of his own life, where dreams and decisions intertwined like the intricate gears of a clock. With a gentle sigh, the jester continued, his voice a soft melody that wrapped around them like a comforting blanket. Alara, dear Elias, soon found herself in a village nestled at the foot of the Whispering Mountains. It was a place where tales of courage and love hung in the air like the sweet scent of blooming jasmine. The villagers greeted her with open arms, their eyes alight with curiosity and compassion. Elias leaned in, envisioning the warmth of that village, where laughter mingled with the scent of freshly baked bread. Among them was a girl named Mira, her spirit as bright as the sun. With hair like spun gold and laughter that rang like chimes in the wind, she quickly became Alara's closest friend. Together, they wandered the emerald hills, sharing stories beneath the sprawling branches of ancient oaks. But peace, like a fleeting breeze, can often be disrupted. As the jester wove his tale, a shadow passed across the lantern's glow, a reminder of the trials that awaited Alara and Mira. One fateful evening, as they gazed at the stars, a menacing figure emerged from the depths of the forest. A sorceress known as Selene, her heart as cold as the frost that lingered long after winter's departure. With a voice like a winter storm, she spoke, "Alara, heart of gold, you have dared to trespass into my realm. Your laughter will soon turn to sorrow, for I shall steal your joy and bind you to the winds of despair." Elias shivered at the thought, his own heart racing. The jester smiled knowingly, sensing the weight of the moment. But Alara, undaunted, raised her chin and replied, "You may have power over the shadows, Selene, but you cannot extinguish the light of friendship and love. I will not succumb to your darkness." And with that, she felt the strength of every moment she had shared, bolstering her resolve. The jester paused, allowing the tension to linger in the air, the anticipation palpable. In that very instant, Mira stepped forward, her voice firm and unwavering. "Together, we stand against you, sorceress. The bonds we've forged are more potent than your curses, and the light of our dreams will guide us through even your darkest spells." With a flourish, the jester mimicked the confrontation, his gestures echoing the spirit of the two young women. And so began a fierce battle of wills, a tempest of magic swirling around them, illuminating the night sky with bursts of color and energy. Alara summoned the memories of laughter and love, while Mira invoked the strength of the mountains that stood sentinel around them, unwavering and steadfast. Elias found himself caught in the whirlwind, his imagination painting vivid images of the clash, a dance between hope and despair, light and darkness. The villagers watched in awe, their hearts united in prayer for the brave young women. "But dear Elias," the jester continued, a note of caution lacing his tone, "the outcome of such battles is never certain. Even the strongest hearts can be worn down by the weight of despair if one is not careful." As the clock ticked softly in the distance, Elias felt a chill. "What happened next?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper, as if afraid to disturb the delicate balance of fate. The jester leaned closer, the flickering lantern casting shadows across his face. But that, my friend, is a question that demands reflection, for every battle leaves its mark, and every choice carries with it the seeds of consequence." Alara's heart, though determined, faced the peril of sacrifice. Would she lose herself in the fight, or would she find a way to illuminate the shadows without losing her essence? He smiled mysteriously, leaving Elias teetering on the edge of uncertainty, eager yet apprehensive. The world outside the tent continued its gentle slumber, while within, the magic of possibility swirled thick in the air, binding Elias to the unfolding story, a tapestry rich with the threads of Alara, Mira, and the shadow of Selene. The night held its breath, and the tale was far from over. Elias leaned forward, his heart racing, as the jester's words hung in the air like the shimmering stars above. The tent felt alive, pulsating with the energy of the narrative that enveloped him. In that moment, he could almost feel the thrill of the battle that raged. In the heart of Ilara, the weight of her choices pressing against her very soul. As dawn approached, the jester continued, his voice a melodic whisper. The battle's fervor reached its zenith. Ilara and Mira, entwined in a dance of destiny, met Selena's darkness with a resilience that shimmered, brighter than the dawn itself. But as they clashed, the shadows stretched, seeking to ensnare their light. Elias envisioned the scene, the ground trembling beneath the weight of their struggles, the air thick with anticipation. The forest around them, once vibrant, began to dim, caught in Selena's web of despair. The trees, guardians of ancient secrets, whispered warnings of the path ahead. Beware, for strength alone cannot break the chains of darkness. It requires a heart willing to trust and to love deeply, they murmured, their voices a haunting melody that echoed through the silence. Ilara, faced with the tempest of her emotions, hesitated, caught between her desire to protect and her fear of loss. In that moment of vulnerability, the jester recounted, Mira reached out, her hand glowing with a warm light that pierced through the shadows. We are not alone, she urged, her voice steady. Together, we hold the power to create a dawn that even the darkest night cannot extinguish. Elias gasped, feeling the weight of their bond resonate in his chest. The jester's storytelling wove a spell around him, wrapping him in the warmth of their friendship. And there, beneath the swirling chaos, Ilara glimpsed a flicker of hope. With a deep breath, she unshackled her fears, allowing the love she carried for her village, for Mira, to surge forth. I will not fight alone, she cried, her voice rising in defiance. Suddenly, the scene shifted in Elias's mind. He saw the shadows recoil, momentarily undone by the strength of their combined spirits. But Selene, ever cunning, laughed, a chilling sound that reverberated through the fabric of the moment. You think your friendship can save you? The witch taunted, her figure looming larger as darkness cascaded from her, like a waterfall of despair. Love is but a fleeting dream, easily shattered in the presence of true power. The jester paused, letting the tension linger, and Elias felt a shiver run down his spine. But within Selena's words lay a truth unspoken. He said softly, for what she deemed a weakness was, in fact, the very essence of strength. It was love's vulnerability, fragile yet unwavering, that held the potential to dispel the night. As the battle continued, Ilara and Mira locked eyes, and in that moment of understanding, they became more than allies. They became the very embodiment of hope, a radiant force against the encroaching darkness. It was then, the jester said, the twinkle in his eye flickering like the flames of a dwindling fire, that they realized the true power of their hearts was not in fighting against darkness, but in illuminating the path forward. Together, they breathed, we are the light that can't be snuffed out. The villagers, who had gathered closer to the tent, listened with bated breath, as if the very fate of the world hung in the balance. Elias felt the emotions swell within him, fear, hope, the intoxicating thrill of adventure. But, dear Elias, the jester added, his voice a soft lull, the shadows are clever, and Selene's magic is not easily undone. Will Ilara's newfound courage be enough to overcome the darkness? Or will the very shadows they fight against consume them all? A hush fell over the crowd, hearts entangled in the unfolding tale. Elias's imagination roamed freely. He felt the chill of the night, the pulse of magic swirling in the air, and the weight of destiny pressing upon him. The world outside blurred into insignificance, for within those enchanted walls, the journey of Ilara and Mira was far from over, and the dawn of their fate lingered just out of reach. A shimmer of silver light flickered at the edges of the tent, casting elongated shadows that danced along the ground like fleeting memories. Ilara took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of hope coursing through her veins. She glanced at Mira, whose eyes shone with a fierce determination, and in that shared glance, they understood. They were not alone in this battle. Then, as if summoned by their resolve, an ancient wind swept through the clearing, swirling leaves and whispers around them. The witch, Selene, narrowed her eyes, sensing the shift in the air. You think the bond of friendship can conquer the darkness? She sneered, her voice dripping with disdain. I have watched empires crumble and heroes fall. What makes you think you're any different? Ilara, emboldened by the warmth of the crowd, stepped forward, her hands clenched into fists. Because our hearts are unyielding, and we carry the love of our village within us. That is a power greater than any dark magic you can wield. Her voice trembled, but it resonated with conviction, echoing off the trees that surrounded them. Mira joined her side, their hands clasped together, forming a bridge of unity. Your threats are empty, Celine. Love is the force that binds us, that gives us strength to stand, and we will not cower in the face of your malevolence. With each word, the atmosphere thickened, saturated with an energy that sparked like fireflies in the twilight. In a moment of desperation, Celine raised her arms, and from her fingertips poured a torrent of shadows, writhing and twisting into forms both grotesque and alluring. Witness the true nature of despair, she cried, unleashing her magic upon the two brave souls. The darkness swirled around Ilara and Mira, attempting to grip their hearts with icy fingers, but something remarkable happened. The shadows faltered, hesitated, as if unsure how to proceed against the brilliance of the two. Ilara felt a pulsing light emanate from their clasped hands, a golden warmth that spread through her body. Mira, remember the stories of our ancestors, she shouted over the cacophony, recalling the tales of love that vanquished fears, of bonds that defied even the mightiest of foes. They taught us that when united, our hearts become a beacon of hope. Together, they began to chant the words of an ancient incantation, a melody that spoke of love enduring against all odds. The villagers, now emboldened, joined in, their voices weaving a tapestry of sound that filled the air with pure energy. Step by step, they advanced toward the witch, the collective strength of their spirits pushing back against the shadows. "Stop this madness," Celine screeched, her confidence faltering as she stumbled backward, the shadows recoiling from the growing light. "You cannot," but Ilara pressed on, her voice rising above the dissonance. "We can and we will. For every heart that beats in this village, for every soul that believes in the power of love, we will not let you win." As the final words of the chant echoed into the night, a radiant burst of light exploded from their hands, illuminating the clearing with a brightness that rivaled the sun at dawn. Celine's shadows spiraled into chaos, shrieking in rage and disbelief as they were banished by the pure essence of love. In the wake of that light, the darkness retreated, and a hushed awe settled over the gathering. Elias felt tears of joy prick at his eyes as he witnessed the transformation. It was not merely a victory against the witch, but a celebration of unity and resilience. The heart of their village forged anew in the fire of their combined spirits. But as the light faded, a lingering sense of foreboding crept into the atmosphere. Celine, though weakened, remained. "This is not over," she spat, her voice now laced with venomous calm. "You may have pushed back the shadows for now, but darkness is patient, and it will return when you least expect it." Ilara, breathing heavily yet unwavering, stood tall against the remnants of the witch's presence. "We will be ready, Celine. For every time you return, we will rise stronger, fueled by the love we share." Behind her, Mira nodded, resolute, embodying the spirit of those who dared to dream against all odds. The villagers erupted into cheers, their voices a melody of triumph resonating through the night. For in that moment, they had not only defended their home, but had woven a new story, one that would be sung through generations, reminding all who heard it of the power of love, unity, and the courage to face the darkness together. But as the last remnants of Celine's magic faded, a new challenge began to take shape in the shadows, one that would test the very fabric of their bonds. And in the heart of the village, as stars twinkled above, the clockmaker's intricate gears began to turn, whispering secrets only the true guardians of time would understand. As the jubilant echoes of victory reverberated through the village, Elias felt a strange tug at his heart. Beneath the celebration, a whisper hinted at an ancient truth, a forgotten tale that intertwining fate with fabric of time itself. The clockmaker's workshop, now aglow with the remnants of magical light, seemed to pulse with an energy all its own. The clocks that lined the walls ticked in harmonious rhythm, each tick a reminder of the moments intertwined in every heart. Night deepened, cloaking the village in a blanket of velvet darkness, save for the flickering lanterns illuminating the streets. As the villagers danced and sang, Elias slipped away, drawn by an unseen force toward his workshop. With each step, the air thickened with a blend of nostalgia and anticipation. He pushed open the creaky door, the familiar scent of polished wood and aged brass wrapping around him like a comforting embrace. Inside, the air shimmered, charged with unspoken potential. The clocks, his creations, seemed to whisper secrets of the past, present, and future. They were more than mere instruments of time. They were guardians of stories yet untold. He stepped closer to the grand-grandfather clock that stood at the center of the room, its pendulum swinging with a rhythmic grace that matched the beat of his heart. Elias placed his hand on the surface, feeling the cool wood beneath his fingers, and closed his eyes. The moment he did, visions flooded his mind, images of the villagers, their laughter, their fears, and the shadows that lurked just beyond the edges of their joy. He could see Celine's battered form retreating, but her essence remained, swirling like dark mist, plodding amidst the silence. In that moment, a profound understanding settled over him like the softest of blankets. The battle against Celine had unveiled something deeper, the true meaning of time. It was not just the hours and minutes that passed, but the choices woven within them. Each tick of the clock resonated with the power to shape destinies, to alter the paths of lives intertwined. Determined, Elias pulled open a drawer filled with gears and cogs, each meticulously crafted and imbued with love. He began to work, assembling a new clock, one that would not only mark time but allow him to glimpse fragments of the future, a preventative measure against the darkness that loomed. As he fitted each piece together, the workshop began to resonate with an ethereal hum, the very air vibrating with magic. But even as he toiled, a creeping shadow slinked into the corners of his mind. What if this new clock granted him foresight but at a cost? Would it burden him with the weight of knowing? He paused for a moment, uncertainty flaring within him. The village had triumphed, but they must remain vigilant, prepared for the unexpected. Just as he tightened the final gear, a haunting melody filled the air, resonating from the depths of the clock. It was a song of the ancients, warning of love's fragility amidst the pull of shadows. Elias felt a chill run down his spine. The shadows were not just Celine's. They lived in the hearts of those who held grudges and fears, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. Then he heard it, a soft knock at the workshop door. Heart racing, he turned to find Alara standing there, her expression a mix of concern and determination. "Elias, I felt something, an echo of your work," she said, stepping inside. Her presence was a beacon of warmth amid the lingering chill. "What are you building?" "It's a safeguard," he replied, hands trembling slightly. "A way to see what may come, to prepare us for what lies ahead. But the price of such knowledge, Ilara, it terrifies me." Ilara stepped closer, her gaze steady and reassuring. "Knowledge is a tool, Elias, not a curse. If we wield it together, the shadows will find no power over us." As her words enveloped him, the grandfather clock chimed midnight, its sound ringing like a bell of hope and renewal through the workshop. Elias felt a renewed sense of purpose. Together they could create a future where love reigned and shadows were kept at bay. But as they stood there, united by their mission, a tremor ran through the ground beneath them. A low, ominous rumble echoed, as if the earth itself was warning them. The night had not yet finished revealing its secrets, and lurking just beyond the borders of their newfound strength, the darkness stirred. The Clockmaker and the Guardian of Love had yet to discover the full extent of their intertwined destinies, and time, it seemed, was both their ally and their adversary, with every tick pulling them closer to an unknown tide of challenges yet to unfold. Elias and Alara exchanged hesitant glances, the tremor beneath their feet echoing the unsteady rhythm of their hearts. The air thickened with anticipation, charged with the weight of the unknown. A moment stretched into eternity as they listened to the unsettling whispers of dusk, shadows creeping ever closer. "Do you feel it?" Ilara asked, her voice barely rising above a whisper, as if speaking too loudly might awaken the darkness that lurked just beyond the flickering candlelight. Elias nodded. The warmth of her presence steadied him. "It's as if the very fabric of this place is fraying, unraveling at the seams. Something approaches, something dark." The clock's hands began to move of their own accord, each tick resonating like a heartbeat, echoing the urgency of their situation. As the last chime of midnight lingered upon the air, a cascade of sparks erupted from behind the clock's face, illuminating the dim workshop. The light formed a swirling vortex, a gateway between worlds, revealing glimpses of figures cloaked in shadow, their forms shifting and undulating like smoke. "Elias?" Alara exclaimed, stepping back instinctively. "What have you done?" "I only wished to see," he replied, his voice trembling with both fear and fascination, "to understand the forces at play. But now it seems I've opened a door that should have remained sealed." From the depths of the vortex emerged a figure, shrouded in darkness, yet with an undeniable grace. A pair of luminous eyes pierced through the veil, locking onto Elias and Alara with a mix of hunger and curiosity. The air crackled with intensity, a tangible tension that made their skin prick. "Clockmaker," the figure intoned, its voice a melodic yet chilling echo that reverberated through the workshop. "You dare to meddle with time? You dare to invite the shadows?" Elias stood tall despite the rising tide of dread within him. "I seek to protect what is dear to me, to safeguard love and light against the encroaching darkness." A sinister smile curled upon the figure's lips, and the shadows around it pulsed as if alive. "And yet love and light are but flickering candles in the storm. Do you think you can stand against the inevitable? The shadows are not mere specters, they are the dark reflections of every choice made, every heart hardened by fear." Before Elias could respond, Alara stepped forward with a newfound determination, the strength of her spirit illuminating the depths of her eyes. "But every shadow has its source. You may embody darkness, but you cannot extinguish the flame of hope. Together we can turn the tide." The shadowy figure recoiled slightly, as if struck by her words. "Hope?" it sneered, amusement lacing its tone. "Hope is a fragile thing, easily crushed beneath the weight of despair." Elias felt the flicker of fear in his chest, but clenched his fists as he remembered the warmth of Alara's belief. Hope thrives in the depths of despair. It is resilient, and it is what we have, the love that binds us, the courage to face whatever comes. As their combined resolve filled the workshop, the vortex began to shimmer and pulse with a radiant light pushing back against the shadows that sought to engulf them. The figure's demeanor shifted, a glint of uncertainty crossing its face. "You are daring, Clockmaker. But remember, the dance between light and dark is always at play. The more you fight, the greater the cost." With those ominous words hanging heavily in the air, the figure began to fade back into the shadows, yet not before issuing one last challenge. "We shall meet again when the clock strikes another hour, and on that hour, the choices you make will weave the tapestry of your fate. Prepare yourself, for the shadows do not forget." The vortex collapsed into itself, the swirling remnants of light extinguished in an instant, leaving Elias and Alara alone in the dim workshop once more. The only sound was the steady ticking of the grandfather clock, each tick echoing like a heartbeat, a reminder of the time they had left to prepare for the trials to come. "Elias," Alara said gently, breaking the stillness that enveloped them, "we cannot let fear dictate our actions. We must harness what we've learned and prepare together." Her words echoed in the depths of his heart, igniting a fire within. With Alara by his side, he felt an unwavering sense of purpose. They would face whatever shadows sought to consume their love. They would forge ahead, not with ignorance of the storm, but with the knowledge that they could illuminate the path, one tick of the clock at a time. And thus, as dawn approached, they began gathering their tools and materials, hearts entwined by the certainty that the battle against darkness had merely begun. Time, once a relentless adversary, now became their ally, urging them onward into the light of the rising sun, where love would blossom anew, even amidst the lingering shadows. As the first rays of sunlight spilled into the workshop, painting everything in hues of gold, Elias set to work with renewed vigor. Each tick of the grandfather clock resonated within him like a drumbeat of determination. Alara moved gracefully beside him, her hands deftly arranging the intricate gears and springs they had salvaged from the remnants of their shattered dreams. Together, they would build a new clock, a beacon of hope to guide them through the trials to come. "Do you think we can truly change our fate?" Elias mused aloud, his brow furrowed in concentration as he fitted a tiny cog into place. "We're not meant to simply accept what fate throws at us," Alara replied, her voice steady and reassuring. "We have the power to shape our path, to challenge the shadows that lurk at the edges of our lives. With each gear we place, we're crafting our own destiny." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and Elias felt a growing sense of excitement. With every twist of the screw and adjustment of the mechanism, he could almost hear the whispers of the past urging them forward. The air between them shimmered with an electric energy, the promise of what was to come coursing through their veins. Time was of the essence, and as they worked tirelessly, Elias reflected on the figure's chilling warning. Was it possible that the shadows were indeed watching their every move, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? He shook off the feeling, focusing instead on the rhythm of their labor. The sun climbed higher, casting playful shadows that danced upon the walls, a testament that even light could be a guardian against the encroaching darkness. Hours passed as they labored side by side, their laughter mingling with the sound of tools clinking and the steady ticking of the growing clock. The workshop transformed around them, becoming a sanctuary of creation and resilience. Yet, deep within Elias's heart, a latent fear stirred, a flicker of doubt that the work they were doing might not be enough. Suddenly, the workshop door creaked open, and in sauntered a familiar figure, cloaked in vibrant green, with a jaunty hat perched upon his head. It was Barnaby, the town's eccentric inventor and storyteller, his eyes sparkling with mischief and wisdom. "Ah, my dear friends, I sensed a change in the air and thought I'd drop by to see what magic you're conjuring up in here." Ilara beamed at the sight of her old friend. "Barnaby, we're in the midst of creating a clock that will help us face the shadows. The very essence of time is our ally now." Barnaby's expression turned serious as he stepped closer, peering at their work with a critical eye. "Ah, time is indeed a trickster, always moving forward, yet filled with the potential to change our course if we know how to wield it. But beware, my friends, for not all clocks measure time in the same way. Some hold secrets and sorrows, while others reflect desires and dreams." Elias exchanged glances with Ilara, intrigued. "What do you mean? Can a clock really hold such power?" "Every tick is a choice," Barnaby explained, his voice lowering to a conspiratorial whisper. "When you build this clock, you're not merely counting seconds. You're creating a portal, a bridge to the moments that shape your lives. But should you make a wrong turn, the shadows could seize the opportunity, twisting the very fabric of time against you." Ilara's eyes widened, a mix of excitement and trepidation flickering within them. "Then we must be careful. Every gear we place should reflect our hopes, not our fears." "Precisely," Barnaby exclaimed, clapping his hands together. "And I have just the thing to help you. A rare crystal, imbued with the essence of time itself. It will guide your work, ensuring that each turn of the clock aligns with the light within your hearts." The inventor reached into his pocket, retrieving a shimmering piece of crystal that glowed with an ethereal light. "But you must promise me one thing. You must approach it with pure intentions. Shadows are drawn to doubt, and if they sense your hesitation, they will creep into your creation." Elias took a moment to absorb Barnaby's words, feeling the weight of responsibility settle upon his shoulders. Looking at Ilara, he saw the determination mirrored in her gaze. Together, they could harness this power, but only if they remained steadfast. With a resolute nod, Elias accepted the crystal, cradling it gently in his hands as if it were a fragile heartbeat. "We promise to forge this clock with love and courage." Barnaby smiled, a twinkle in his eyes. "Then let the magic begin. The clockwork of destiny waits for none, and together you shall weave a new tapestry of time." As they resumed their work, the atmosphere in the workshop crackled with anticipation. The sun now hung high in the sky, illuminating their faces as they poured their hearts into the clock's intricate design. The shadows, however, were not far away, lurking just beyond the threshold of their sanctuary, and deep within the dark corners of the world, the figure that once warned them of the cost of courage watched with keen eyes, plotting its next move as the hour drew closer. The clock's gears clicked and whirred, each piece falling into place like the notes of a long-forgotten song. Ilara and Elias, their spirits entwined in a shared purpose, worked tirelessly, their fingers dancing over brass and copper, polishing each surface until it gleamed with promise. The rare crystal glowed brighter with each completed section, pulsating in rhythm with their unwavering determination. Days turned into nights, the boundaries of time blurring as they delved deeper into the clockmaker's art. The workshop became a sanctuary of dreams, filled with the scent of oil and wood shavings. They infused their laughter and whispered hopes into the clockwork, crafting not just a mechanism, but a heart that resonated with their desires for the future. Yet, in the quiet moments, a chill would brush past them, a reminder that shadows lingered hungrily outside their haven. As the final pieces approached completion, Barnaby returned to check on their progress, his presence a comforting beacon. "How goes the weaving of your fate?" he asked, his voice a soft melody in the air. "We're close," Elara replied, her hands stained with grease but her eyes shining bright. "Each turn of the gear feels imbued with our essence. It's more than just a clock. It's a testament to our quest for love and family." "Indeed," Barnaby nodded, pride swelling within him like warm embers. "But beware, the shadows are drawn to such purity. They will not allow you to create without a fight." A sudden gust of wind rattled the windows, a foreboding whisper threading through the air. Elias exchanged a worried glance with Elara, sensing an impending storm that had little to do with weather. "What must we do?" he asked, his fists clenching as he instinctively moved closer to Elara. "Complete the clock," Barnaby instructed, his voice steady. "Only in its entirety can it be a shield against the encroaching darkness. Finish the final cog, and let the magic of your intentions encapsulate your creation." With renewed vigor they returned to their work, the tension thickening as they neared the end of their monumental task. But just as they placed the last gear, a crack of thunder echoed outside, and the workshop was plunged into an unnatural silence. The crystal dimmed, flickering like a candle about to be snuffed out. "Elias, the shadows, they're here," Elara gasped, backing away from the window. A malevolent energy seeped into the room, wrapping around them like a cold blanket. "I won't let them take our light," Elias shouted, his heart racing. He grasped the crystal tightly, willing it to shine with the warmth of their hopes. "We have come too far to turn back now." In that moment, a figure emerged from the darkness, cloaked in swirling shadows, its eyes glowing like embers. "You think mere dreams can withstand the weight of reality?" It hissed, voice dripping with disdain. "You are too naive to grasp the true cost of your ambitions." Elara stood her ground, feeling the pulse of love and family in her heart. "Our dreams are more powerful than you can imagine. We will not be swayed by your darkness." The shadows swirled around the figure, and a chilling laughter filled the air. "Then let us see if your hopes can withstand this trial. Face your fears, and perhaps you might earn your precious time." With a wave of its hand, the figure unleashed a torrent of doubt and despair, swirling before them like a tempest. Images of failure and loss flashed through Elias and Elara's minds, each moment a reminder of their vulnerabilities. They struggled against the tide of negativity, feeling the burden of doubt weigh heavily upon their hearts. "Remember why we fight," Elias shouted, his voice cutting through the storm. "We seek love. We seek family. We seek to reclaim the moments that matter most." With those words, Elara joined him, her spirit resolute. "Together, we can face this darkness. Our bond is stronger than any shadow." As they stood united, the crystal flared to life, its radiant light piercing through the encroaching gloom. The shadows recoiled, hissing as the warmth of their intentions clashed against the coldness of doubt. With each pulse of light, the clock began to resonate, a rhythmic heartbeat that intertwined with their resolve, pushing back the darkness inch by inch. "Keep going," Barnaby urged, his voice a guiding star amid the chaos. "You are weaving not just a clock, but the very fabric of your fate." Elias and Elara focused, pouring every ounce of their hopes, dreams, and the love they cherished into the heart of the clock. The gears began to twirl more rapidly, sending waves of shimmering energy throughout the workshop, illuminating the shadows with a golden glow. But just as victory seemed within reach, the figure lunged forward, clawing at the light in desperation, its voice now a cacophony of rage. "You cannot banish me so easily. I am the doubt that festers in your hearts." "Not today!" Elias cried fiercely, gripping the crystal with unwavering faith. With a final surge of collective strength, they directed all the warmth and love they felt into the heart of their creation, allowing the clock to transform into a radiant shield. As the light erupted, filling every corner of the room, the shadows began to dissolve, shrieking in agony as their power waned. The figure, once looming, shattered like glass, leaving behind nothing but a whisper of fleeting darkness. Breathless, yet triumphant, Elara and Elias stood together, the pulsating crystal now a beacon of hope in their hands. They had faced the shadows and emerged victorious, but the battle was not over. They still had to complete the clock, to harness the magic they had ignited. And so, with hearts full of courage and dreams anew, they set forth to finish their creation, knowing that time itself would forever change in that very moment. The workshop buzzed with renewed energy, the air thick with the scent of freshly oiled gears and the lingering warmth of their triumph. Ilara and Elias exchanged glances, a silent understanding flowing between them. They had faced the darkness together and emerged stronger, but they knew the true test lay in the completion of the clock. As if sensing their resolve, the crystal pulsed brightly, illuminating the intricate blueprints strewn across the workbench. "Look at this," Ilara said, tracing her finger along the delicate drawings of the clock's mechanism. "We need to create a cascade of chimes that will not only mark the hours, but also spread joy and love through the village." Elias nodded, his brow furrowing in concentration. "Each chime must resonate with the emotions we've felt, a melody of hope and a rhythm of togetherness. It should remind everyone that time is not just a thief of moments, but a keeper of memories." They set to work, their hands moving in perfect harmony, a dance of creation fueled by passion and purpose. With each cog they crafted, they infused it with laughter shared in the village square, the warmth of family gatherings, and the quiet moments of shared dreams beneath the starlit sky. The clock, once a mere collection of parts, began to breathe life. Hours slipped away, unnoticed, as they lost themselves in the magic of their task. The workshop became a sanctuary, walls echoing with the sound of their shared laughter, and every tick of the clock was a heartbeat in their blossoming bond. Yet amid the joy, a flicker of unease lingered at the edge of their minds. Would they truly succeed in mending the fabric of time? "Elias," Ilara whispered, pausing to lean against the workbench. "Do you think the villagers will accept what we create? Will they understand the magic we're trying to weave into their lives?" He took her hands in his eyes steady. "We have to believe in ourselves just as much as we believe in them. This clock is a reflection of the love and hope we have cultivated. If we hold that truth, they will feel it too." As the final gear clicked into place, a soft glow enveloped the clock, the crystal at its heart shining brighter than ever. They stepped back, gazing at their creation, a magnificent timepiece, adorned with intricate carvings of flowers and stars, each telling a story of the village and its people. But as they admired their work, a cold draft swept through the workshop, extinguishing the warm glow of their triumph. The shadows, once thought vanquished, began to coalesce in the corners, whispering doubts that echoed within their minds. "Stay strong!" Barnaby's voice rang out, though he too seemed unsettled. "The clock is not just a tool, it's a guardian. The moment it chimes, it will awaken the magic within every heart." Ilara and Elias exchanged a determined look. "Then we must finish this," they declared in unison. Their fingers flew over the final components, securing the last pieces with fervor, hearts racing with anticipation. Suddenly, the crystal emitted a pulse of energy, and the entire workshop vibrated with its resonance. A cascade of light poured forth, bathing them in a warm embrace. Yet, from the shadows emerged the figure again, this time more defined, its eyes glinting with malice. "Fools," it hissed, its voice a cacophony of echoes. "You think you can forge a new path with mere whimsy? I am the doubt that dwells in the hearts of all. I will shatter your dreams." With a roar, it lunged towards them, the darkness swirling like a tempest. In that moment of impending despair, Ilara felt the weight of her fear, and yet, within her, a resolute flame sparked. "No!" she shouted, steeling herself against the darkness. "We will not let you win, for our love is stronger than your shadows." Drawing upon the power of the crystal, they joined hands once more, channeling the love, laughter, and life they had poured into the clock. The air crackled as they whispered incantations of hope and unity, their voices rising above the din of despair. With one final push, the clock chimed for the first time, a sound that resonated through the workshop and beyond, echoing into the hearts of those in the village. The chime was bright and clear, weaving a melody that sent ripples of warmth through the very fabric of time itself. The figure faltered, its form wavering under the echo of their creation. "No!" it shrieked, the shadows swirling around it, losing their form and power. "This cannot be." But Ilara and Elias stood firm, their resolve unyielding as the clock's magic surged. The darkness writhed, torn between the profound light of love and the shadows it sought to claim. They understood now that their journey had not just been about mending time, but about crafting a future where hope could thrive. As the workshop filled with the luminous glow of their victory, they felt the first stirrings of what was to come. They had ignited the magic, but their true adventure was only just beginning. The moment the clock's chime faded into silence, an ethereal calm enveloped the workshop. Ilara and Elias stood, breathless, their hearts racing with the aftershocks of their triumph. The shadows that once engulfed the corners of the room began to dissolve, retreating into the very fabric of the universe from whence they came. Yet, amidst their victorious embrace, a gentle whisper echoed through the air, a murmur barely discernible, like a soft breeze stirring the trees. "This is only a moment, my dear ones," it seemed to say. "The path of time weaves with greater complexity than you know." Ilara looked around, feeling a mixture of hope and trepidation threading through her veins. "We have to be vigilant," she said quietly, her voice betraying the weight of her realization. "The shadows may flee for now, but they will return if we do not guard what we have created." Elias nodded, his eyes scanning the remnants of the workshop, tools strewn about, the tools of their craft now imbued with a flickering hope. "We must protect this clock and the magic of time it holds," he replied, his spirit ignited by purpose. As if answering their resolve, the clock began to tick once more, each second resonating with the heartbeat of their dreams. As they listened, the cadence of the ticking wove a song, an uncharted melody that whispered secrets of the past and possibilities of the future. The clock had become not only a vessel of time, but a harbinger of stories yet to unfold. Suddenly, a glimmer caught Ilara's eye. There, among the scattered remnants of wood and metal, lay an intricate silver key. It sparkled with a soft luminescence, beckoning her closer. "Elias, look!" She knelt to retrieve it, cradling the key in her palm. "Do you think it is part of the clock's magic?" Elias leaned in, examining the key. "It feels special, doesn't it? As if it holds the answers to secrets we have yet to uncover. What if there are other clocks, other moments in need of repair?" Ilara's eyes widened, a wave of excitement crashing over her. "Then we must find them. Each tick of this clock is a call to adventure." They exchanged a glance filled with determination, their hearts beating as one. With the key held tightly, they understood that their journey had transcended their village. It was a quest that could weave through the tapestry of time itself. With newfound energy they began to gather their tools, setting to work on the final details of their clock. The workshop, once a place of despair, now thrummed with purpose and clarity. The sounds of clinking metal and the warm flicker of candlelight filled the air, echoing the couple's laughter and the electric thrill of impending adventures. As dusk fell outside, casting long shadows across the floor, Ilara placed the key into the clock's intricate lock and turned it gently. A soft click resonated, and to their astonishment, the clock's face lit up, revealing a map spinning in delicate tendrils of light, marking paths to distant lands and forgotten times. "Look!" Elias exclaimed, eyes wide as the map began to settle, illuminating a point deep within the forest, far beyond the familiar trails of their village. "This must be our first destination." Ilara felt her spirit soar. "We must prepare ourselves." Each journey into time could unveil wonders and dangers alike. The flutter of excitement was palpable. They would need supplies, but more importantly, they had to summon the courage required to step into the unknown. With hearts full of hope and minds racing with possibilities, they shared a promise, a vow to face the shadows, embrace the wonders that awaited them, and safeguard the magic they had reclaimed. As the clock ticked steadily, they set about their preparations, unaware of the eyes watching from the shadows of the forest, the same malevolent figure stirring once more, vowing to reclaim the darkness that had been momentarily shaken. But Ilara and Elias had each other, and together, they embodied the light that could chase away even the deepest of shadows. They were ready to embrace the adventures beyond the workshop, knowing that with each tick of the clock, time itself would unveil the mysteries that awaited them. The next morning dawned with a golden hue, the first rays of sunlight spilling through the workshop's grimy windows, like laughter breaking through silence. Ilara and Elias stood before the clock, its face now a vibrant tapestry of moving maps and twinkling stars. The air was thick with anticipation, and the scent of fresh wood shavings mingled with the fragrant earth outside. "Shall we?" Ilara asked, her fingers brushing against the clock's surface, feeling the pulse of its magic beneath her skin. Elias nodded, adjusting the satchel slung over his shoulder. "The path awaits us, but remember, we must stay vigilant. We do not know what lies beyond." With a deep breath, they clasped hands, feeling the warmth of each other's presence push away any lingering doubts. The clock chimed softly, a melodious invitation that echoed through the workshop, resonating with their hearts. As Ilara turned the key once more, a rush of wind enveloped them, swirling like autumn leaves caught in a playful dance. In an instant, the world around them faded into a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes. They felt themselves lifted, weightless, as if time itself had cradled them. Moments later, the sensation changed, and they landed softly on the forest floor, the vibrant greens and browns stretching before them, alive with the sounds of rustling leaves and distant bird calls. "Where are we?" Ilara whispered, excitement and trepidation intertwining in her chest. Before them lay a path lined with ancient trees, their gnarled branches reaching upward as if trying to touch the very fabric of the sky. The air shimmered with a hint of magic, and for a moment, everything felt impossibly still, as if the forest itself held its breath in reverence of their arrival. Elias scanned the surroundings, his intuition alert. "I think we should follow the path. The map suggested we seek a clearing where time flows differently." As they ventured deeper into the woods, the sun began to filter through the thick canopy above, casting playful shadows that danced alongside them. The tranquility soon gave way to an unsettling whisper in the air, a sensation that prickled at the back of their necks. "Ilara," Elias murmured, his voice barely escaping his lips. "Do you feel that?" She nodded, her heart racing. "Yes, something or someone is watching us." Just as they reached a particularly ancient oak, a figure emerged from the shadows, a thin, hunched silhouette draped in tattered robes that seemed to steal the light around it. Its face was obscured, hidden beneath a hood that concealed all but a glimmer of malicious intent, a cruel smile playing on its lips. "Ah, the Clockmaker's children come to play," it hissed, voice like dry leaves rasping against stone. "But time is a fickle friend, and not all travelers find their way home." Elias stepped protectively in front of Ilara, feeling a surge of courage. "Who are you? What do you want?" The figure, chuckled, a sound that echoed through the trees, sending a shiver down their spines. "I am the keeper of lost time, a shadow born of your failures and fears. You think you can simply reclaim what was lost? There are consequences for tinkering with fate." Ilara felt a surge of defiance. "We are not afraid of you. We seek to mend what was broken." "Brave words from a girl who has yet to grasp the weight of her choices," the keeper taunted, stepping closer, the ground beneath its feet wilting as if the very essence of life recoiled from its presence. Elias tightened his grip on Ilara's hand. "We will face whatever comes our way, together." The keeper's smile widened, revealing teeth like shards of glass. "Then let the game begin. You may find that time is not merely a guide but a battleground. Choose wisely, or you may lose not only yourselves, but the very thread of hope you cling to." And with that, the figure vanished like mist in the morning sun, leaving behind a chilling silence and a lingering sense of dread. Ilara and Elias exchanged glances, their determination hardening. "We won't let fear dictate our journey," Ilara said resolutely, her heartbeat steadying. "Let's find that clearing and uncover the secrets that await," Elias replied, a spark of confidence igniting in his chest. As they continued on the path, every rustle in the underbrush, every distant cry of a creature, filled them with both excitement and caution. They were aware now that their journey was no longer just an adventure into the unknown. It was a battle against the darkness that sought to reclaim what warmth and joy they had fought so hard to restore. With each step, the forest seemed to pulse with the rhythm of time itself, guiding them forward yet reminding them of the stakes that lay ahead. As they ventured deeper, they couldn't shake the feeling that their destiny was intricately woven into the fabric of this enchanted land, where every choice echoed through the ages like the soft chime of a clock's bell. They pressed onward, driven by a determination that felt almost palpable in the cool air around them. Each tree they passed seemed to watch with bated breath, the quivering leaves whispering secrets of the past. Ilara's mind raced with questions. What secrets lay in the clearing? Would they find the answers they sought, or would the keeper's words haunt them like shadows? Suddenly, a sharp glint caught their eyes, a stream of sunlight breaking through the dense canopy, illuminating a small glade ahead. The moment felt charged with possibility, as if the very fabric of time had stitched a path just for them. Ilara shared a knowing look with Elias, a silent agreement passing between them. They quickened their pace, hearts beating in sync with the rhythm of hope. As they stepped into the clearing, the world around them transformed. The air shimmered with a golden hue, and flowers bloomed in vibrant colors, each petal seemingly kissed by sunlight. In the center of his wood, the glade stood an ancient oak tree, its gnarled branches twisting like the hands of an intricate clock, each knot and curve a testament to the years it had witnessed. At the foot of this noble tree rested a weathered wooden chest, adorned with carvings of celestial bodies and swirling winds. Could it be? Ilara breathed out, awe suffusing her voice. The keeper of lost time must have left this here. Elias knelt beside the chest, running his fingers over the smooth surface. What do you think is inside? He wondered, curiosity dancing in his eyes. Only one way to find out, Ilara replied, her voice steady yet tinged with excitement. She glanced around the clearing, half expecting the keeper to emerge from the shadows once more. But we must be cautious. With a deep breath to steady themselves, they worked together to lift the lid. The hinges creaked in protest, echoing through the tranquil space. Inside, they discovered a collection of delicate hourglasses, each filled with sand of different hues, some sparkling with ethereal glimmers, others dark and murky, like storms brewing on the horizon. What do you think they mean? Elias asked, holding up an hourglass filled with shimmering blue sand. The grains flowed slowly, each one catching the light and refracting it like 1,000 tiny stars. Ilara, look! She turned to where Elias was pointing, her heart quickening as she noticed a silvery ribbon coiled among the hourglasses. It seemed to pulse with a life of its own, glowing softly, beckoning them closer. Is that? Ilara whispered, reaching out with trembling fingers. The ribbon of time. As her fingertips brushed against it, a sudden warmth spread through her, and visions flickered before her eyes. A kaleidoscope of moments, glimmers of laughter, heartache, and joy. Memories of her childhood flooded her mind. The sound of her mother's laughter, the scent of freshly baked bread, the warmth of summer evenings spent under the stars. Elias gasped, watching as Ilara was enveloped in a shimmering aura. Ilara! Don't be afraid, Elias! She called out, her voice resonating with an unexpected strength. I can feel it. The ribbon holds the memories we cherish, the moments that define who we are. But as she grasped the ribbon tighter, the scene shifted. Darker images emerged, lost opportunities, words left unspoken, love that faded like the last light of day. With each embrace of the ribbon, Ilara could sense the burden of choices she had yet to make. Release it, Elias urged, stepping forward. It's too much. No, Ilara said, her voice steady now, the warmth of the ribbon giving her strength. I must understand. We can't be afraid of our past. We must embrace it if we want to forge our future. The air thrummed with energy, and the hourglasses began to resonate, their sands swirling in harmonious harmony. The entire clearing vibrated, alive with the echoes of time, and Ilara realized that the keeper's warning had come. True, this was indeed a battleground, one where every choice mattered. With renewed resolve, Ilara closed her eyes and focused. We will not be prisoners of time, she declared, her heart swelling with hope. We will carve our own path. Just as she spoke, the ground trembled beneath their feet, and the keeper's laughter echoed through the trees, twisting around them like vines. Ah, brave souls, you may yet learn. But remember, the greatest battles are fought within. Before they could process the keeper's words, the ground split open, revealing a chasm that yawned wide beneath the oak tree. Ilara felt the tug of an unseen force pulling her toward the abyss. With adrenaline surging, she grasped Elias's hand tightly, knowing that they must face whatever lay ahead together. Whatever it takes, Ilara whispered, determination blazing in her eyes. We will reclaim our lost time. And, together they leapt into the unknown, the world around them spiraling into darkness, where the true test of their courage awaited. The moment they plunged into the abyss, the weightlessness enveloped them like a cloak spun from shadows. Time, once their relentless foe, now swirled in shimmering droplets around them, a kaleidoscope of memories both cherished and forgotten. Ilara's heart raced as she spun through the void, her fingers still clenched around Elias's, a lifeline in a world that seemed to teeter on the brink of despair. Suddenly, they landed softly on a ground that shimmered with an ethereal glow, the surface like glass beneath their feet. They stood in a vast chamber lit by 1,000 flickering lights, each one dancing like a firefly caught in a summer evening's breeze. The chamber felt familiar, yet it was woven from memories that belonged to everyone but them. "Where are we?" Elias whispered, his voice barely breaking the enchanting silence. "This must be the Hall of Echoes," Ilara breathed, recognizing the tales she had heard in her childhood, a place where lost moments gathered, waiting for someone to claim them. The air was thick with the weight of unspoken words and unsung songs, each echo reverberating with the emotions of those who had come before them. As they stepped further into the chamber, the lights coalesced into shapes, forming a vivid tapestry of faces and places, joys mingled with sorrows. Ilara felt a pull toward a particular scene, a memory shimmering with golden hues. It depicted a young girl, wide-eyed and full of laughter, spinning in a meadow fragrant with wildflowers. "That's me," she exclaimed, tears welling in her eyes. The memory of carefree joy washed over her, a reminder of the innocence she had fought so hard to retain. Elias, too, was drawn to a flickering light, the image of a warm hearth and laughter echoing within a family circle. A boy, perhaps not much older than he was now, clutched a crafted wooden toy, eyes sparkling with pride as he presented it to his parents. "Elias, look," he murmured, his heart aching with a bittersweet mix of nostalgia and longing. "Do you see?" Ilara said, the urgency in her voice pulling him from reverie. "These memories are what we fight for. They remind us of who we are and where we come from." Just then, the lights began to pulse erratically, a warning signal, resonating through the air. The keeper's laughter echoed once more, but now it felt more sinister. "Ah, the echoes of the past are but frail wisps. They can twist and trap you, if you let them." An ominous shadow loomed, creeping toward them like an unrelenting fog, coiling around the shimmering memories. Ilara felt a chill settle in her bones, and her resolve hardened when she saw how the shadows threatened to consume the flickering lights, snuffing them out one by one. "Stand firm," she shouted, raising the ribbon, which shimmered with an unearthly brightness. "We choose to remember. We choose to fight." Elias, inspired by her courage, summoned every ounce of strength within him. "Together," he called, his voice ringing out clear and strong. "We will not let our past be extinguished." As they stood side by side, the ribbon pulsed with energy, and the colors of their memories began to intertwine, creating a radiant shield against the encroaching darkness. The echoes surged around them, swirling with life as the memories of countless souls rallied to their cause. With a collective roar of determination, Ilara and Elias thrust the ribbon forward, sending a wave of light surging through the chamber. The shadows recoiled, hissing like a wounded beast, but they pressed on, fueled by their resolve. "Remember," echoed through the chamber, a chorus of voices rising in unison, each one a reminder of love, laughter, and the battles fought in the name of hope. The keeper's laughter turned to a growl reverberating through the hall. "You think you can reclaim what was lost? You will face your own darkness before this journey is done." But Ilara felt the warmth of the ribbon surge through her veins, illuminating the depths of her heart. She turned to Elias, her eyes alight with fire. "No matter what darkness lies ahead, we will face it together." And with that, they broke through the swirling shadows, a beacon of hope illuminating the chamber as they plunged deeper into the heart of the Hall of Echoes, prepared to confront the fears that awaited them. The echoes of their past whispered around them, guiding them forward into the unknown, where the real test of their courage and their love was yet to come. In the heart of the Hall of Echoes, the shadows began to take on familiar shapes, memories twisting into figures that danced just outside the reach of Ilara and Elias's light. Faces from their past materialized, friends, parents, and mentors, each one bearing expressions of longing and sorrow. As they ventured deeper, the whispers grew louder, a cacophony of voices threading through the air, each one vying for attention, each one a remnant of something cherished. "Do you remember?" A voice floated toward them, a gentle breeze carrying the laughter of Ilara's childhood friend, Maris. Do you remember the summer we spent by the river, casting stones and dreaming? Ilara's heart ached at the sound. I do, she replied softly, her voice barely above a whisper. But I thought I'd lost you. Maris's ethereal figure shimmered, uncertainty shadowing her features. You never lost me. You cast me aside with your fears and your doubts. You must confront what lies beneath if you wish to break the Keeper's hold. As the apparition dissolved into mist, Elias took Ilara's hand, squeezing gently. We can do this. We just have to be brave enough to face the pain. They pressed onward, the light from the ribbon casting reflections that danced like fireflies on the stone walls of the hall. But the shadows twisted again, morphing into a more sinister form. The Keeper of Lost Time emerged, his voice a low rumble, echoing through the chamber. Do you think mere light will vanquish me? He scoffed, his eyes glinting with a cruel glee. You are but mortals. Your memories are frail. I have devoured the dreams of thousands. You are but a fleeting spark in my endless night. In that moment the air thickened, and the memories around them twisted grotesquely, revealing darker secrets. Specters of failure and regret encircled Ilara and Elias, each one a haunting reminder of what they feared, of every moment they wished they could reclaim but could not. Their breath quickened as the shadows pressed in, enveloping their hearts like an icy grip. Think, Ilara, Elias urged, his voice steady despite the turmoil. What if the true strength lies not in banishing the memories, but in embracing them? Ilara closed her eyes, summoning the courage she had found in her journey. You're right, she breathed, her heart racing. It's time to face them. They are part of us. They make us who we are. As they stood together, the ribbon pulsed warmly between them, reacting to their newfound resolve. I am not afraid of you, Ilara declared, her voice gaining strength. I will embrace my memories. You cannot take away what I have lived and loved. With a unified cry, they thrust the ribbon forward. Light erupted in a kaleidoscope of colors, illuminating the chamber and pushing back against the darkness. The shadows writhed and shrieked, the Keeper's form flickering as the power of their love and the weight of their memories fused into a blazing barrier. Face the truth, Elias shouted, his heart beating in rhythm with Ilara's. Face the love and the loss for what they are. The chamber shook, and the Keeper roared in fury, his form splintering amidst the radiant energy. You will pay for this defiance. I will consume not just your memories, but your very essence. But as the shadows recoiled, Ilara and Elias felt a profound shift. Each memory they embraced became a thread of strength, weaving a tapestry of resilience. They were not merely fighting for survival, they were fighting for the love that had shaped them, the laughter, the tears, and the shared experiences that could not be undone. Together, they cried, their voices harmonizing, a powerful anthem against the darkness. The light surged, enveloping the Keeper and the shadows in a brilliant display of color and sound, resounding with the echoes of the past, present, and future. As the blinding light enveloped them, they felt the warmth of countless souls, those they had lost and those they held dear, tangling around their hearts in a protective embrace. And in that moment, they understood. The battle was not just against the Keeper, but against the silence that threatened to swallow their stories whole. With each passing heartbeat, they drew deeper into the light, ready to face whatever lay ahead, armed not just with memories, but with the very essence of who they both had become, the sum of their pasts, united in the strength of their love.